fears of a global trade war have risen after U.S. elected President Donald Trump threatened to impose 100% tariffs on Bbrics countries if the bloc creates a new currency to rival the U.S. dollar. Now, will trade war really happen? We're now going to discuss this issue with Dandi Rafitrandi, researcher, Department of Economics, CSIS. Hello, Mas Dandi. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on Focus today.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Mas Dandi, let us delve right into the conversation about this very fascinating topic. There are still about 10 days until Donald Trump takes office, but already he has laid ground for future policies that could shake the global economy. After stating throughout the campaign trail that U.S. will impose tariffs on U.S. trading partners such as Canada and Mexico, the latest target has been the Bbrics alliance. Please elaborate, Mas Dandi. In general, why is the President-elect of the United States now giving threats to the Bbrics alliance?
Right. This is actually related to a statement that it's, I think, where the Bbrics had a conversation, I think the late 2024, that they want to have this new currency, right, to replace dollar, and we call it de-dollarization. So I think from the Donald Trump perspective, I think it's kind of seen as a challenge to the U.S. Economy. And I think the U.S. dollar is, as we already probably know, that one of the economic power tools that is actually exclusive for the U.S. Economy, because it has a very significant and economic and geopolitical leverage. For example, if the U.S. have a fiscal or monetary policy, for example, like interest rates, or they want to have a stimulus to their economy, the impact will be significant to the international global economy. So I think from Donald Trump's perspective, losing this power to have significant influence in the global economy, it's seen like a threat to U.S. dominance in the global economy. Yeah.
All right, Mas Dandi, as we know, leading politicians in Brazil and Russia have suggested to create a Bbrics currency to reduce U.S. dollar's dominance on the global trade. But based on your perspective and knowledge, is it actually realistic and feasible for the Bbrics alliance to create such a rival currency?
Yeah. Of course, that's a question, a million-dollar question that we have, actually. As you probably can learn from the history, right now we have the European Union as an example to have a single currency in their area, which took them quite a long history and also journey, and also ASEAN. Even we have, we Indonesia in ASEAN itself, we don't have any plan to have this new or a single currency in ASEAN region. So if there is a plan, it will take quite a while to develop a new currency, because it means that you have to integrate the monetary policy and the system, and there is a lot of adjustment in terms of financial system and banking sectors as well. So I'm not sure whether it's going to be a really implemented in the next, I don't know, 5 years in the future. But I think the most possible plan is to have what we call a local currency settlement, which is quite different with the new currency. It's so you still have your own currency, but you trade with your partner, for example, in the Bbrics member, with the local currency, not with the U.S. dollar. So it's two different things.
All right, Mas Dandi, before we continue to discuss about this particular situation between the Bbrics alliance and the U.S., I would like to go back about the statements made by President-elect Donald Trump about tariffs. To be honest, I'm sure you agree with me that this feels a bit like deja vu, because in his first term, Donald Trump imposed tariffs on China's imports, which resulted in a trade war at that time and ultimately causing Donald Trump's government to bail out farmers who suffered greatly because China imposed huge tariffs in retaliation on U.S. soybean and corn. So my question is, why does Donald Trump keep on using tariffs as a political tool and leverage and policy tool? What do you think is his reasoning?
Right. I think the short answer, because it is the easiest economic tool to be implemented by the US. As you probably also mentioned, that it has a historical background that he already implemented back in 2016 when he started his first term, and I think tariff also can give a quite strong signal and also political pressure uh, to the countries that it's being targeted. Of course, there will be like a political process behind the tariff implementation before Donald Trump really wants to implement it after that. But I think the most important reason behind that, it is economic tool that it's quite well understood by the U.S. domestic audience. So uh, Donald Trump himself called him as a Mr. Tariff, if I'm not mistaken. So I think this is really reflecting how the foreign policy of Donald Trump will be, which is really tied with the domestic audience and his base voters. And I think it will be more nationalistic and domestic oriented in the future. So that's the reflection that I can take. Yeah.
Okay, based on his statements in his social media, in every other occasion, do you think that he would put truth into those statements in his future policies? If a global trade war were to happen, because as we know, Donald Trump now also has the backing of the Republicans in the Senate and Congress.
Right.
They have the majority. So any policies will be very easy for him to realize. Do you think it will happen?
Yep.
And how should Indonesia then retaliate in our strategy?
Right. Yeah, it's still a big question. I mean, what I personally believe is that the tariff will be there, but how much the tariff will be given to the targeted country, it's still questionable, because as I mentioned before, there will be a political process behind that. But if the tariff is implemented, I think there are a couple of we need to take into account some of the commodities that is quite sensitive. For example, iron and steel. We're talking about semiconductor and chips. And also, I think the green industry, for example, EV and solar panel, I think that's sort of the commodities that we need to take into account, and then see what's actually the impact to the Indonesia's economy. For Indonesia itself, I think the strategy will be to diversify our trade partners and also investors. And I think that's the probably the best strategy that we have right now. And I think the government having to join the BRICS right now is also as a part of that policy, how to strengthen the non-traditional partners in terms of trade and investment. So I think this already in track at BRICS, and we also want to join, for example, the CPTPP, the OECD. I think we also conclude the Indonesia SEPA, a comprehensive economic partnership agreement with Canada. And I think that's all the effort actually hopefully can be, a buffer towards the uncertainty from, the tariffs that Donald Trump wants to implement. Yep.
All right, Mas Dandi, maybe we can go even deeper into this latest issue between the BRICS alliance and the U.S. government, the upcoming U.S. government. Do you think that the BRICS is actually feeling agitated with this threat, or will the group go on with its plan to create a new currency to rival the US dollars? Do you have any knowledge on the plan itself from BRICS Alliance?
Yeah, I think the countries like China and Russia might have a plan to to retaliate, for example, because they have historically and also have a significance in terms of their economy. For example, China has a big manufacturing industry that can be a threat to the U.S. and also significant in the global value chain, whereas the Russia has a very rich natural resources that can be, can be seen as a threat also with to the U.S. as well. So I think this both country can actually do something from themselves to retaliate for this tariff plan, but I'm not really sure about whether BRICS as a one block can coming up together as one single block and having one policy or retaliate as a block. I think it's might not be possible because this kind of coordinated action uh, might not possible because there's a quite diverse interest between members. For example, India might not be on the same table if China and Russia want to retaliate, right? Because India is having a hedging game between the U.S. and China, as we probably know that India maintain a good relation with the U.S. and China and can actually get benefit from both sides. So I think as a country, I think yes, it's possible, but as a block, one single block, I'm not really sure about that. Yeah.
All right, Mas Dendi, it's been a very enlightening conversation, and I wish I have more time to talk with you, but I only have time for one last question. And this is
All
probably
right.
also one of the issues that people are holding their breath for when it comes to the upcoming administration of Donald Trump, and that is the rivalry between U.S. and also China. Now, as we know,
Right.
China is one of Indonesia's most strategic partners. So how do you think are the challenges that Indonesia must anticipate in the upcoming rivalry between U.S. and China part 2, we can say the sequel after the first administration of Donald Trump? And how can we use the BRICS alliance to benefit us when it comes to this?
Right. So I think in terms of Indonesia's position between U.S. and China, I think I have to argue it's becoming more complicated because of this BRICS accession. But well, we have to be very careful because looking at the Trump's first administration, um, after having the office in 2016, Donald Trump actually coming up with a list of the country uh, that that he thinks it's gonna threaten the international trade of the U.S. And Indonesia is one of those countries because we have quite a significant number of trade surplus with the U.S. And at that time, he threatened us. He threatened us to be taken out from the generalized system of preference, which is a GSP list. It's a special facilities for countries from the U.S. Uh, that can give a lower tariff. So I think Indonesia should prove that we are still in the neutral position, and and then if we know that from the previous terms also with the Donald Trump, he's quite transactional, right? So there's a gives and take. So if you, for example, join BRICS, then what else can you give for the U.S. to to strengthen our cooperation? That's actually the homework for the government right now. I have several sectors that can be strengthened in terms of critical minerals and digital economy. These two sectors can be our leverage to to bargain with Mr. Trump in the near future. But of course, diversification is a must. we need to lower our risk. And I think by having a more active and many international economic cooperation platforms such as Bbrics, such as CPTPP, such as OECD can actually give us quite leverage and buffer in order to welcome the Donald Trump in the next term. Yeah.
All right, Mas Dandi Rafitrandi, researcher, Department of Economics of CSIS. Thank you so much for our enlightening conversation. We'll be looking forward to more of your sharp analysis on other intricacies of international trade. Until then, take care. Thank you.
Thank you.